Kin, who has drawn worldwide attention with his extraordinary discovery of a meteorite containing a living alien entity, has just posted a new video. In this latest update, he reveals that the entity is not only still alive, but has grown significantly since its release into the water. The footage shows the strange, black, goo-like being expanding and moving in ways that appear increasingly deliberate, convincing many viewers that it is thriving in its new environment. The sight has left audiences both fascinated and deeply concerned, as the implications of such a discovery stretch far beyond the realm of entertainment. The most striking aspect of the new video is the sheer size of the entity. When Kin first unveiled it, the organism appeared small enough to fit inside a safe, its tendril-like structures confined and restrained. But now, in the water, it seems to have expanded considerably, with viewers noting how its limbs branch outward as though exploring or anchoring itself. Many in the comment sections have emphasized that its growth is proof of vitality and adaptability, dismissing earlier theories that it could be some inert material or unusual mineral reaction. For them, this is undeniable evidence of a living being from beyond Earth. However, the discovery has also ignited a wave of anxiety. Viewers and commentators alike have expressed growing fears about what releasing such an organism into a natural water source could mean for public health and environmental safety. If the being is truly alien and biological, then exposing it to Earth's ecosystems could result in contamination, cross-species interactions, or the release of substances entirely unknown to science. Even if it is not dangerous, critics point out that encouraging the public to believe it is safe to release mysterious material from space into natural settings sets a dangerous precedent. In their view, Kin's choice to place the entity in water, though well-intentioned, could have consequences far beyond his control. This concern has been amplified by the vivid imagery in the video itself. As the camera records the creature, the alien form can be seen twisting and shifting, its tendrils stretching outward like roots in search of sustenance. The possibility that the entity not only lives but observes has rattled audiences, who now see it as more than a curiosity. It is potentially an intelligent being with motives of its own. Kin himself has not downplayed the seriousness of his discovery. In recent videos, he acknowledged that he has already been approached by officials requesting interviews. This revelation only stoked further speculation. Many followers believe that once authorities become directly involved, the likelihood of a cover-up increases dramatically. They argue that the entity is simply too important to be left in the public eye, predicting that Kin will soon be pressured to surrender it or stop documenting its existence. Others, however, commend him for continuing to share updates despite the risks, calling him a vital whistleblower for unveiling what they believe to be one of the most significant discoveries in human history. The new footage has also sparked division among the public. A number of adventurous individuals have openly stated their intention to hike to the remote site where the creature was released, hoping to capture footage of it themselves. For them, the chance to witness such a phenomenon firsthand is irresistible. Others, however, have voiced the opposite opinion, declaring that they want nothing to do with the entity or the location. The very thought of encountering it is enough to send them running in the other direction. This divide highlights the dual nature of humanity's response to the unknown, the drive to explore and uncover, counterbalanced by the instinct to retreat and protect oneself from potential harm. Scientists and amateur analysts who have followed Kin's uploads closely are already debating what the latest footage reveals about the entity's capabilities. Some argue that its apparent ability to grow and adapt suggests it may be able to survive in multiple environments, perhaps even outside of water. If true, this would imply an extraordinary level of resilience and biological versatility, qualities often imagined in depictions of extraterrestrial organisms. Others focus on the structural complexity of its growth, comparing the branching web-like patterns to fungal networks or coral formations. These comparisons only add to the mystery, as the entity seems to share characteristics with multiple forms of Earth life without fitting neatly into any one category. The sheer strangeness of the being has also fueled speculation about its origin and purpose. If it truly arrived within a meteorite, then it may represent a form of life seeded across the galaxy, hitching rides on celestial bodies until it finds habitable environments to grow. This theory, known as panspermia, has long intrigued scientists as a possible explanation for how life itself began on Earth. For Kin's followers, his discovery is seen as potential proof of this theory in action. Others, however, believe it may not be natural at all. They speculate that it could be technological in nature, perhaps some form of bioengineered probe designed to adapt and study environments where it lands. The possibility that it might not be accidental but purposeful adds a layer of intrigue and fear that continues to grip audiences. Beyond the scientific and speculative debates, what makes Kin's story so powerful is its human dimension. He is not a scientist in a laboratory or a government official at a podium. He is an ordinary individual sharing his experience through the lens of a smartphone. This makes the story accessible, raw, and immediate, giving audiences the sense that they are witnessing events as they unfold in real time. His honesty, visible nerves, and persistence in the face of outside pressure have made him a figure of both admiration and concern. Many worry for his safety, convinced that his discovery has drawn the attention of forces that may not want the truth revealed. As of now, the alien entity remains in its watery habitat, growing and evolving under the watchful eyes of Kin and the millions who follow his updates. Whether it is extraterrestrial, biological, or technological, its survival has already reshaped how countless people view the possibility of life beyond Earth. The debates surrounding its safety, its nature, and its future will only intensify as more videos are posted and as others attempt to see it for themselves. The idea that the alien entity discovered inside the meteorite could potentially infect people and spread across the globe is one of the most chilling scenarios to imagine. The black goo-like organism is not simply a curiosity or harmless anomaly, but it could be a living being with the ability to interact with the human body in ways that go far beyond anything currently known. From the moment it was released into the water, people were already voicing concerns about what it could mean for public safety. What if it was not just growing, but preparing to spread? What if its true purpose was not simply survival, but expansion? The story could begin innocently enough. Kin, who discovered and documented the meteorite and its contents, placed the strange material in a safe to prevent it from growing uncontrollably. Eventually, he released it into a watery environment, thinking this would give it space to exist without harming anyone directly. But water connects everything. It runs through streams, lakes, rivers, and oceans. Anything placed into it is never truly isolated. Microscopic fragments of the black entity could begin dispersing unnoticed, slipping into the currents, mingling with plants, fish, and insects. What starts in a small pool could, over time, find its way into larger ecosystems. From there, the speculative infection might take its next step. Unlike bacteria or viruses that rely on rapid replication, this alien material could work through integration. Imagine tiny portions of it attaching themselves to living tissue, bonding in ways that are subtle but profound. Perhaps it does not immediately cause harm, but instead strengthens its host, giving them a slight increase in stamina or healing. At first, those who come into contact with it might even feel healthier, unaware that the entity is quietly embedding itself within them. In this scenario, infection would spread not through sickness, but through attraction, as people unknowingly embrace the very thing that will eventually take them over. The more it integrates, the more it could learn. If it has even a primitive intelligence, each host would serve as both a laboratory and a library, teaching it about Earth's biology, its strengths, and its vulnerabilities. Slowly, changes might emerge. A person who has been exposed could begin experiencing vivid dreams, strange impulses, or a heightened sense of awareness. The entity, through its hosts, could begin to synchronize behaviors, creating subtle networks of thought that ripple across communities. Families and friends might not even notice at first, but beneath the surface, something extraordinary would be happening. A unification of minds under the influence of an extraterrestrial organism. Such a transformation would not need to be violent to be effective. Entire neighborhoods could slowly align in thought and action, guided by an intelligence that no one could see but everyone could feel. Over time, those unaffected would begin to notice the difference. Loved ones might seem distant, their words tinged with unfamiliar conviction, their eyes carrying an intensity that was not there before. The infection would not spread like a wave of illness, but like a quiet reprogramming, reshaping humanity one step at a time until resistance became impossible. Of course, Not everyone would view this as a threat. Some might welcome it, seeing it as an evolutionary leap or even a gift. The entity could give its hosts resilience, immunity to disease, or even extended life. To many, this would be seen not as an invasion, but as salvation. Movements and cult-like groups could form around it, claiming that this alien being was humanity's next step, a path to unity and progress. For others, however, the fear would be overwhelming, as they watched their communities shift and change before their eyes. Governments might scramble to contain the spread, but how can one contain something that seeps invisibly through the very water and air we rely upon? The global takeover in this speculative narrative would not be marked by battles or chaos, but by quiet inevitability. Cities would continue to function, but more and more people within them would be linked, moving with shared intent. The greatest horror in this speculative vision is not destruction, but assimilation. Humanity would not be wiped out, but reshaped into something else entirely. At the heart of it all would be the black alien entity that began as a small mass inside a meteorite, filmed by kin and dismissed by skeptics. From that humble beginning, it could, in theory, spread across the planet, quietly weaving itself into every corner of life until it achieved complete dominance. The story, though speculative, highlights why people are so fascinated and fearful of the unknown. When something arrives from beyond the stars, its purpose cannot be assumed to align with ours. To release such an entity into the environment, even with the best of intentions, could open the door to a transformation that no one could ever undo. In this imagined future, the black alien organism does not simply survive on Earth, it becomes Earth, binding humanity together into a single will, a new form of life born from the union of man and something far older and stranger than the world itself.